we are getting really so close to match the flavor and taste of cocoa using a biomass that is cheaper, that is healthier, and also more sustainable in the way you cultivate it.
Hello and welcome to the Industrial Kingdom podcast, the manufacturing and agriculture show of the MENA region. I am Valérie Zakka, the founder of the Industrial Kingdom Consulting Services. Our experts offer technical consulting to businesses and investors in the agriculture manufacturing industries around the MENA region. And today, for the podcast, we are launching a new series which is focusing on industry innovations. And I am very happy to be launching this series with the biorefinery expert Dr. Karl Safi from Wageningen University Research in the Netherlands. Hi, Karl.
Hi, Valerie.
Karl today will be telling us specifically about their latest research on carob, and specifically carob pods, as an alternative to chocolate. And what are the latest developments that they have reached?
Yes.
So first of all, most welcome.
Thank you, Valerie.
And thank you for your time and for being here. Please, for those who don't know you, tell us a bit about yourself and your path.
Of course. Well, Valerie, thank you very much for inviting me. I honestly didn't know that it's the first section of this thing you're doing. I'm very happy to be here. It's been a really long time. I didn't come to Lebanon. And of course, congratulations on the Industrial Kingdom. I was following everything you're doing via LinkedIn. I really like what you're doing.
Thank you. It means a lot.
And if there is anything we can do to collaborate with Wageningen University Research, you know where to find me.
Yes, definitely.
We'll be happy
I
to
will find you.
Yes, that's good.
Thank you.
Well, about me, yes, I'm Karl Safi. I'm a biorefinery expert. I have been in this expertise since 2010.
For those who don't know, what is a biorefinery?
So biorefinery, in simple words, has been inspired by the fossil fuel refineries. So we just take any kind of renewable resource. It can be terrestrial resource, it can be marine resource, it can be a waste, it can be a leftover from agriculture, from industries. We take it because everything has value. We take this, we build a process around it, and we try to create a better value of this biomass or this waste instead of throwing it away.
Okay, so continue, please.
Yes, so I have been doing this since 2010 and operating in Wageningen University Research, more precisely in Wageningen Food and Bio-based Research. This is the department I belong, since 2014. I started there as a project manager, and now my position evolved a little bit, and I'm operating now as an innovation and business development management, specifically on value creation from biomass.
That is so relevant, really.
Yeah. So this is a little about me.
And about the carob specifically, which is the topic we are tackling today. Where did the idea of carob as a chocolate replacement come from? And how did you get there? How did you decide to get into that?
Well, to be honest with you, the whole idea of us focusing on carob was started, if I remember well, end of 2022. But it had nothing to do with chocolate back then. It was really something different, mainly focusing on the seeds of carob, because the seeds of carob contain a component that is very unique to carob. You can only find it in carob. It's called locust bean gum. It has a high value, and there is a lot of interest for it, not only in the food industry, but also in the pharmaceutical industry. So we start to look into it, and of course, like we do in research, we go through the literature in depth. And we realize that a lot of things have been done on locust bean gum. So we kept working on that to see if we can find something different we can make using our expertise in Wageningen. To be honest with you, nothing interesting came up. And but during the literature, we started to see that because everybody knows that carob is a chocolate alternative that is used in the modern applications. So we started to be surprised to see that no modern processes has been used on carob nowadays. Everything is being done on it is really, really old-fashioned.
So the literature you've had to review was kind of all similar, like it was all being done in the same angle, on the same kind of...
Yeah, exactly. So we looked into the processes, and the processes, the way you do molas, like we call it in Arabic, dibis, the way you can use it as a syrup, the way you can, in modern application, they used to grind them and use half-half with cocoa, and they call it chocolate alternative, or 80%, 20%. So we realized that there is nothing that's creating an additional value from this interesting biomass. And this is where we start, okay, let's see what's happening in cocoa industry, and let's try to compare it to what's happening in with the so-called chocolate alternative. And we've seen that almost nothing was done. We went into the literature, we went into patent search for really several months, and we realized that not much has been done in the literature with that regard, which encouraged us to step in for many reasons. We can, of course, talk about them, to mainly create a chocolate alternative using modern techniques and our expertise to bring it as close as possible to cocoa.
So to the chocolate.
Yes.
Okay, so with that said, can you take us through, in a simple, of course,
Yeah.
way, through the process that you've developed to reach that result?
Yeah, of course. So basically what we noticed that, let me go one step back. Nothing is like the flavor of chocolate and taste, honestly.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah. And we inspired ourselves because we have been working for a decade on meat replacements. And we have done a lot of work on flavor, because also if you want the consumer to eat your plant-based meat, you need to also have at least a similar flavor to cow meat or sheep meat.
As Wageningen, you have been
Yeah,
doing.
we have done this for, I mean, when I say we, it's not only Carl, we are a huge team working on all these things. So the inspiration of having a chocolate alternative started from there. And we went into what we call the fermentation process. Because if you go into the fermentation, which has never been done on carob for chocolate purposes, what we found in the literature was only for ethanol, or for using it as a sweetener, or using the carbon from sugar for fermentation processes. But we didn't see anything targeted for chocolate purposes. And of course, fermentation is a huge world. It's not like, okay, I throw it like that, fermentation, you have a chocolate. No, it is like thousands of species that you can use and tailor in order to get the right flavor that might be close to the one that we are targeting, which is cocoa flavor. So thanks to our expertise and thanks to our great team we have a really wonderful team who was working on that, and they managed to, through the literature, through their expertise, to pick the right species on fermentation. And the first result we got was in Campioneproject. I know you were part of this project.
Yes.
But what you don't know, that we had two other projects running in parallel. We couldn't speak about them in the past, but now, of course, we can. So when we started to do fermentation using our expertise, and the results that started to appear, in the beginning it was a mess. It was really frustrating.
Yeah, no, you are in kind of uncharted
Yeah, yeah.
territory, so of course it's going to be messy. I
Exactly.
guess there was a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
Also, consumers have very high expectations on the taste of
Yeah.
chocolate,
Yeah.
so I guess that was a difficult endeavor.
Yeah, exactly. So, but at a certain point, we started to see, we start to observe, we start to smell, and also we start to see, on our monitors, that the flavor of after fermentation is getting closer to the flavor of cocoa. It's not a perfect match, but it was a very good starting point, and which triggered our will to incorporate all this in an AI system. There is an AI platform that has been recently launched by our colleague. I'm referring here to colleague and friend Martijn Becker. He,
Hi, Martin.
you should meet him, by the way. Uh, and there was an AI platform mainly focused on flavor, all kind of flavors, not only cocoa. But the great thing in this, it's amazing, really. The AI can tell you at which point of time you can stop your fermentation process because it's
No.
bringing you the closest to the flavor of cocoa.
Wow.
Therefore, you gain time, you gain with less resources, and of course with less, when I say resources, I mean money, because sometimes you can wait hours and days and months to reach the desired outcome.
Probably with higher accuracy.
Yes, man, that's where my next point is that I'm not going to bother you with scientific things
Bother
that,
us. We
but
are interested.
one
Anyone
more,
who's watching is
thing that
interested.
can be understandable to all our colleagues, partners, and the audience is that this platform can also tell you which molecule is similar to the one of cocoa and which one is not. And therefore you can tailor your fermentation process in such a way to get it as close and hopefully maybe one day a perfect match with the flavor that we are aiming for. So this whole thing between fermentation, there is also another process I'm not allowed to talk about right now.
There's so many secrets.
Yeah, I know, but you know the science world. Sometimes we have to keep things for ourselves to avoid promising things that might be negative. And then, which brings us to the AI platform. We are getting really so close to match the flavor and taste of cocoa using a biomass that is cheaper, that is healthier, and also more sustainable in a way you cultivate it.
So easier to cultivate
Yes.
and more available.
Well, the interest in Carob is rising significantly, especially during the last 2 years, I would say, for many reasons. The first one is the will. I'm talking about where I live right now. In the Western population are very eager for alternatives that are more sustainable and healthier. And this one tick this box.
Why is it healthier? I mean,
Well, it is
cocoa
healthier.
is widely sought after for many properties. Why is carob
That's
considered
correct.
healthier?
So, carob, it is first a natural sweetener. You don't need to add sugar or
Totally.
processed sugar like we do with cocoa.
Yeah.
It doesn't contain cholesterol. It doesn't contain caffeine. Have you seen the kids when they eat chocolate after how they go crazy?
Yes.
So imagine, and also there are people who have allergies to
Yes, totally.
to caffeine. So what did I say?
And
No
to chocolate.
cholesterol, no very low in fat. So we said no caffeine. It's vegan.
Yeah.
Well, cocoa is vegan as well, but it's part of that, and it has less allergens that can be found in cocoa. Now, this is the health and sustainability. The carob trees are very strong trees compared to cocoa tree. We have seen now the disasters that is unfolding. It's been 2 years,
Yes.
which is bringing the price of cocoa to more than $12,000 per ton. Now it dropped to 10,000. Yesterday I checked. But the problem is
Today is February 14, 2025 for
yes. So that's another item that also is driving the corporate world to see if we can find some alternatives. Whereas carob is $800, let's say $1,000 per ton.
Wow.
And based on all the traders, we are in contact with the largest traders in the world in terms of commodities. All of them told us that cocoa will never go back to $2,000 as it used to be in the past. We're talking to, if we're dreaming, I mean, I'm not a trader, but that's what they're saying. It can be 2 to 3-fold higher than it used to be 2-3 years ago.
I see.
And there are many reasons why. First of all, there is the impact of climate change. We've seen now what's happening in Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast. The rainfall is very scarce, and if there is not enough rainfall, then there is a big problem. Now is going to happen in April because they cannot harvest cocoa as they should.
Is April the harvesting season?
Yes, at least in their countries. So So yeah, it's there is this part, and also the cocoa industry is because of all these problems is suffering from the supply chain, and therefore is driving all the prices very high. So you see, we are ticking all the boxes now:
Yeah.
sustainability,
Yeah.
healthier. We are having less price. The
Yeah.
technoeconomic analysis that we're doing are very positive. So there is no reason why we should not explore this further, especially that our processes are giving us very promising results.
Yeah. And you are also investing, or let's say, exploiting is has bad connotation, but like growing a new value chain. Yani, if we talk about the carob as it is now, it's very widely available. I mean, carob is very relevant to our culture in the Mediterranean, and
Yes, yes.
we all grew up with carob trees
Yes.
around, and we never knew what is the use of that tree,
Well,
basically. And now you are, investing. You can be giving a new usage to this value chain
yes.
with new opportunities to new farmers as well, maybe. And about the rainfall, like I know, maybe I don't know if I'm correct, that it doesn't require much water.
No, it is a very strong.
Yeah,
It can grow in arid lands. It doesn't require that much management
true.
like cocoa trees require. Um, so let me tell you something about the history. Also, you were talking about the Mediterranean, which is completely true. It's part of our culture.
Yes.
But we have seen that when they were excavating in Egypt, some tombs they found of Pharaoh, and one of the kings, I don't even know I remember his name or her, or if it was a queen. When they removed the corpse, they found carob in the tomb. I don't
Like
know why. Was it
carob, not disintegrated carob.
well because of the preservation? Where the carob was still edible,
Wow.
but I don't think someone will eat it. But
No, but
but yeah, I don't know why. To be honest, I'm sure they have their own cultural explanation. But yes, carob. Look, since when we know carob has been used as a natural sweetener. It has been used in drinks. It has been used as a syrup, and of course now as a molas, dibis, and well, nowadays the modern application. I'm repeating myself, but chocolate
Look,
alternative.
but you're not repeating yourself, because this gives an idea about carob, that it has existed for a long time as a sweetener or an alternative for sweeteners, and now your research is giving a new dimension to explore for
Yeah.
that part, let's
Yeah.
say. And you answered the question before I could ask it,
Oh,
but I
oh.
wanted to.
Sorry.
It was no. Thank you for. It means you're going the right way. Yani, so far we've heard a lot about carob as a chocolate replacement, and I wanted also you to clarify how is your research different. Because it has been used as a chocolate replacement or as an additive in chocolate recipes. Is your research in line with that, or offering something new?
Well, of course, the new thing we are offering is that we are modernizing the processes compared to what is available right now in the market or in the literature. We talked about fermentation and AI. So that's number one. Also, we're creating more value. By using it right there, we are creating more value. Or we can talk about it if you want. What else? We are as you mentioned, we are trying to, when we work with these big projects, it's not limited only about the process and it's validated yes or no. It also, we focus a lot, there is also, like we call them work packages, that we focus on the impact on the labor market. So we are also creating jobs
Yes.
for the the farmers that are using these biomass in a very traditional way. So if we can create more value, more work, and the process is being validated, then we hit the sweet spot for
The
us.
sweet spot.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a good pun. So basically, with your research, the way it's going, carob would be used alone as a chocolate replacement.
That's
So
what
not
we.
as an additive in cocoa recipes.
That's what
right?
we are aiming for. And one of the advantages, maybe I didn't refer to that, the color of carob is close to the carob of chocolate
Yeah.
after being roasted and fermented. So that's something also we don't need to do in order to bring the color to make
Yes.
similarity with that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Because so far it seems that manufacturers that are using carob in their recipes are using it as an additive, not as a single ingredient. And right, like they are mixing carob powder into the cocoa recipe.
yes. I
right?
mean, when they call it chocolate alternate, look, it's to be fair. Yes, in some cases they are using it like 50-50 cocoa, but in some cases they are using it full as carob powder.
Okay.
So it's also about the consumer, what the consumer wants. But as I mentioned in the beginning, there is nothing like the taste and flavor of cocoa.
Exactly.
So that's our main objective now, is to bring it as close as possible. You know, in science we say, we never say 100%.
Yes.
They don't like that. So
It's true.
yeah, but we try to bring it as close as possible, 80-90%. That would be an achievement.
Wow, that is a big goal actually.
Yeah. The results are promising. That's really what I'm saying. So we are now combining all this. Maybe it's part of your question. What's the difference now? Is we're combining all this knowledge that we created, and we are going to invite our partners to join us and to collaborate with us, so we can bring it on a larger scale. Now everything is of course, on a laboratory scale. And our aim now is to create this new project. It's going to happen soon, to bring it on a large scale,
Yes, I
industrial
wanted
scale.
to ask you: is this possible to reproduce on a large industrial scale? Because a lot of research can be done, and you will get good results in the lab. But then, how do you translate it on a manufacturing scale?
Of course, we call them TRL level, technical readiness level. So when you start developing something on the lab, you need to scale it up. So there is lab scale, we call it pre-pilot, pilot scale, industrial scale. And on each scale, you start tuning a little bit your processes.
Yeah.
And you validate them. But there is something very important that we do in parallel, is we do something called technoeconomic analysis. We had a lot of processes that we've done in the past, not necessarily on Carob, where we have very nice processes that are working very well. Yeah, but the cost of meat will cost you $200,000 to make a hamburger.
Yeah.
So that's why we make sure that techno-economic analysis is in line with the scientific, positive results that we are getting. And yeah, so once the techno-economic analysis is not working fine, then we keep tailoring and tuning the processes in order to find a match.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That kind of answer. And a very important topic for me, and of course many people, I'm sure, watching us. What about the leftovers? Like, okay, great, you've used the carob, and you've used mainly the pods, right?
Yeah, we use the pods, yeah.
What about the leftovers? Are there ways to valorize them, like the waste byproducts of that treatment?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. Well, let me... So what we're doing, we never do a project where we don't adopt the circularity approach, which is in line with my expertise as value creation from biomass. In our philosophy, because sometimes there are some misconception about the circularity approach, that you keep it in a circle forever. No, it's not like that. Usually our philosophy is like, you take from the earth, you bring back to the earth.
Okay.
Of course, we don't take everything and we bring back everything. We have like a circle, we have a model where around 10% we bring it back to earth. So going back to your question, yes, of course, we're going to take all the leftovers. And by the way, the carobs that we brought from Lebanon, in the literature, all the carobs that we found, they have like 3%, 5% proteins in their seeds. The one we brought from Lebanon were between 18 and 25% proteins, which is substantial. So yes, the process of carob for chocolate from the pods, and then the remainings, we will go for proteins, locust bean gum, and fertilizers.
Wow.
So therefore, and all of them for we call them high value creation. What is being done nowadays is not wrong. You take the leftover, you either burn it or you do gasification or you throw it in the field. But there is so much in it.
Of course.
And I can give you an example that we did recently. There is a publication about it where we worked on an industry, on the beer industry. And we managed to increase the value of their leftover by 24%.
Wow.
Imagine on industrial level.
That is a big percentage.
What they used to do before was not wrong, but that's what we do. We try to create as much value from your leftover sustainably and, of course, economically. So that's exactly what we're going to do with Carob. We're going to, again, the chocolate part, the leftovers, there will be proteins for food, locust bean gum for food or pharmaceuticals, and the remaining will go back to the field as fertilizers.
Nice. That was an interesting example about the beer, the brewery. Was that a private organization that came to you, or was that like a research project that you?
No, as I mentioned, it's part of these big programs we work on that are encouraged by the Dutch government, where they encourage private and public collaborations. So it's part of this program. And yes, it is from the private sector where this beer industry came to us. I cannot mention the names out of respect to the confidentiality, but this is where it came from, yes.
Yeah, because, I'm always thinking also about the business aspect. So is it possible for private organizations to come to you as Wageningen
Of course,
Research and request like a technical due diligence on a project, or expose a problem they are facing and commission you to find a solution for that, or a
absolutely
process?
They can come from all over the world. We work with more than 100 countries across the globe. We had more than 1,000 collaborators that worked with us on this program, that is the Dutch program. So yes, of course, consulting, technical due diligence, or collaborating and contributing in this program, it's open to the whole world. Yeah.
Wonderful. So a bit, that was another topic that is not very relevant, but you're doing so many great things at Wageningen, and I heard that you are also working on a project for Mars and the Moon. Is that correct?
How do you know about that?
I've been to Wageningen, and
Martin,
we have our
Martin
connections. We have our connections when we want to know something.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. We are working on a project right now on building a biorefinery. There is a lot of programs now, SpaceX, Artemis, they want to establish permanent bases starting on the moon and hopefully in the future on Mars. And there, they need to find the best way to be self-sufficient. Of course, they're not going to take with them cows and sheep to the moon. They need to find a way to consume and valorize what they have on the spot. So we are building a biorefinery on the plants that they grow. This is validated, by the way. That has been validated. How you can take this plant after you consume what you want, and the leftovers, there will be a process where you can enhance the protein production in these leftovers. That way you can consume the proteins that, not all the proteins or the amino acids, you can find them in plants. So by doing this process that we are going to implement, you can have access to all these amino acids as if you are eating meat.
Is that from specific plants, specific types,
no, not necessarily,
in
not
general?
necessarily, in general. And also what we know now that doing fermentation in zero gravity.
Yeah, how do you simulate that?
That what we know now is that it can, the performance can be better than when you do it on normal gravity here on Earth. Yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Don't ask me how and why, because I
won't.
don't know much how these about zero gravity. But at least the first observations I have seen that with zero gravity, the fermentation is not hindered. And it turned out it's complete opposite. It is completely, it is enhanced.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the project is for protein, let's say
Yes.
protein
Yeah.
creation on the moon and
Yeah.
Mars.
Yeah.
Okay. That's just that, yeah.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
so. Of course, the difficulty in this, just to let you know, because we always receive this question, like, really, are you doing this for? But there are a lot of pressing issues on Earth, which is completely right. That's why we don't do these from public funding. We strongly believe that public funding should go to more pressing issues, poverty, climate change, what's happening now on Earth. So there are some programs where you can apply for, where there are private funding coming from, where you can get some funding to conduct your research. So that's
Very
what we
nice.
do, and yeah.
So if you can be developing that, then I'm sure you will be very successful on the Carob
Yeah, I hope
Carob
so.
project.
Yeah.
We are very happy to be even in the smallest way involved in that. The Carob value chain in general is very special for us. So thank you for your trust and for sharing this information on the Industrial Kingdom podcast. Then with this, I want to thank you for your time and for this information, and I want to invite you to come again with the other projects that you are developing.
I'll be happy to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And for our viewers, thank you for being here. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel on Spotify, and then stay in touch on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. And send us your questions and comments for especially on this really amazing topic that I will be sharing with Carl any questions you have. Thank you for watching, and see you next time on the Industrial Kingdom podcast.